what's going on, boys and girls? Reaction video time. It's been a while. I've been searching the YouTubes for some videos. This one is entitled "Switching to Linux Full Time Was a Mistake." Hyperbolic, Epsvox kind of title, I think, maybe. Just taking a wild stab. I'll never do video production, ever. Ooh. So anyway, let's see what this person's got to say and roll into it. I'm curious. I really am. I'm hoping it's like some legit complaints. Let's find out though.
Can you tell? Hi guys, I'm in 4K now. So yeah, I did get that new camera that I was talking about in one of the other videos, and this is using it now. So yeah, I had the light in the previous videos, so the quality took a step up, and now we're taking another step up. Maybe it's a step down because you can actually see all of me now, all of my gritty, horrible, frizzy details. But let me tell you, it was not easy getting here. I have a story that goes along with this 4K resolution. So if it wasn't apparent from my previous videos, I have switched my main desktop to using Linux.
There are previous videos? Question mark. If there were, I probably would have reacted to them. I don't know. I'll have to look and see what they were about them. I guess, maybe, possibly. Guess we'll find out. So anyway, let's continue with this reaction. So what's this giant long story, apparently, that's going to take me 5.5 minutes?
As the workhorse for all my stuff. This works really well for game development and for, my general computer use. But I did not realize how much of a pain in the ass it would be to do my video editing on it. Do you remember one of my last videos when I was talking about how ideally things would be and how they're not in real life? That's what bit me in the ass with this. Proprietary bullshit. So I was using DaVinci Resolve for my video editing on Windows because it's free and I had been using it for a while and I know how to use it. So when I come to Linux, I'm like, let's use DaVinci Resolve because I know how to use it and it's free and it runs on Linux. Turns out it's not so simple. Things don't always just work, I spent probably about 6 hours trying to get DaVinci Resolve to work with my webcam, with OBS, and trying to use Handbrake to transcode things. It was a nightmare. Eventually, I ended up...
Okay, so I'm not going to trash this person. These are legitimate problems and questions, etc. So I, in return, retort with legitimate questions and etc. DaVinci Resolve is a temperamental piece of software. Doesn't matter OS. You need big beefy machine to run said big beefy pile of shit software, which is perfectly fine. My question is, what features, besides knowing DaVinci Resolve, make you stick with DaVinci Resolve? That's my first question. Second of all, completely get the logic. Same tool, same different OS. Totally get that. Because you know it, they don't have to change workflow and all that kind of stuff. Small problem in your logic of thinking there. You changed platforms. Your willingness to adapt to a new workflow is completely necessary. Now, what that workflow will be different based on the platform. I don't go into Final Cut and expect to have the workflow of Premiere Pro. I don't go into Premiere Pro expecting the workflow of Final Cut. You have to be willing to adapt somewhat. My other question, what distro, what webcam, and what hardware. Because without knowing any of that, no Linux user can help you. The only person that can help you, because you were keeping that information close to the chest, is you. Now, I don't know. Like, these are just legitimate questions. So, distro, software, hardware, and, is resolve necessary? I think those are legitimate questions.
Google searching Windows or Linux video editing, enter, and this video pops up. It's by EpisVox, and it's called "Why I Won't Switch to Linux for Video Production Ever," something like that. There's a link down in the description. That's pretty much how my day went. I was using Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve just like he was, and I ran into pretty much every single problem this video talks about. Not every single one, but the vast majority.
See prior video that I've done about that particular rant by EpisVox. Do note that was essentially user error. Again, this is where distro comes into play. This is where hardware knowledge comes into play. And this comes into hardware as far as knowing where to narrow the problem. Now, I'll tell you, as far as the EpisVox video you're mentioning, I'm going to try to be nice here. I would completely disregard 99% of what the fuck he had to say. Barring the file mounting issue in the file browser of like Nautilus or Nemo or whatever fucking distro he was using, I would completely disregard everything he had to say, because for a guy who, quote unquote, knows what the hell he's doing, he sure as shit didn't seem like it, because 99% of the things that were issues were ones of his own doing. End of story. So my question is, are you using a different version of Linux than is supported by DaVinci Resolve? So if it's not RHEL or CentOS, that means you're probably using a third-party script or a third-party repository to basically recompile the RPM executable that's kicking around for DaVinci Resolve on an unsupported platform. Or are we seeing a problem here already? So, and if you just expect it to work, that's like going to, I don't know, expecting a Windows 2000 game to work on Windows 10. You don't, because it's not supported on the fucking box. It's the same way Valve takes with Linux support. It's either SteamOS or Ubuntu. That's it. They don't support anything else. If you get it running on other distros, props to you, homie. But if it support, you're on your fucking own. And that's kind of how DaVinci Resolve works, because Blackmagic takes, like, DaVinci Resolve is more of an appliance mentality and not so much a end user mentality. That's why it runs on RHEL and CentOS. So, again, I would disregard pretty much everything EpisVox did. Second of all, details. You're lacking in details about what the problems were, other than, oh, I ran into something similar but not quite, is what you're given. That's not exactly helpful for people to help troubleshoot and nail down your problem to help you. So let's continue.
But I didn't know of any alternatives, and I didn't know really how to solve it until after I watched this video, I saw that there was like a reply to this video talking about it by the Linux Gamer, and he just goes on to say, yeah, basically everything you said is right, because Linux is kind of garbage when it comes to having all these formats and stuff. And, you know, the rant that I had, same shit. It's just a disaster. But he did give some, you know, he explained the way he does his videos, which I then, like, you know, looked at and was like, sure, let's try it. I don't care. I don't use most of the features in DaVinci Resolve, so let's move over. So the day that I recorded those previous 3 videos, that was all in one day. And I recorded all 3 of them at different times during the day, during different parts of my trying to get this thing to work. And that's why I referenced the being frustrated part, because that was the last video that I recorded, and that's when I realized how much shit had hit the fan with DaVinci Resolve. And then I was finally able to get it all working, and then I edited the 3rd video first, and then the 1st video, and then the 2nd video. So it's in a weird order from when I recorded it, but I think it makes the most sense in a way from a narrative perspective. And I was just really frustrated. I'm learning this new software, Kdenlive. It's not everything that I want it to be. It doesn't do everything right, but at least I can import the video.
Okay, 2 things. Quoting you, I don't use all the features in DaVinci Resolve, so I'm going to switch to Kdenlive. Okay. Later complaint. It does not do everything I want to, and does not do it right. New piece of software. Gotta change the mind frame. That's all I'm going to say. As far as, and again, lacking details. This is my problem with a lot of these videos. They lack the details and the finesse that they need, as far as, this is why this doesn't work. This is why this doesn't work for me. You know, if you had said this has a, you know, like DaVinci Resolve's color correcting stuff is 1,000 times better than Kdenlive's, then okay, totally get that. But you're not giving details about what isn't working for you. So people can't make better recommendations for you because you're not giving enough detail. Now, again, I didn't watch, apparently you had prior videos. I didn't fucking watch them. I just found this one. This is the one I'm reacting to now. Will I go back and watch the other ones? Maybe. But at the end of the day, some of these questions could be answered. I don't fucking know. All I'm saying is you're lacking in a lot of details about why X, Y, or Z does not work for you or did not work, etc. And nobody can help you troubleshoot except for yourself. And that's not helpful for anybody if you're the one having the trouble. It's like asking for help but not wanting help.
Videos, and I can edit them, which is not something I could do in DaVinci Resolve, not without some weird workflow that is too much work. So I'm editing now, and I'm able to make videos, so that's good, but it took me a lot of work to be able to record and edit videos. And then so I have this new camera, and that's why I'm able to shoot in 4K now. Those 3 videos were all done with my webcam, and that was another like can of worms getting this thing working. But you know, we have it now.
Details, please. Hardware. What kind of can of worms? The hurdles, etc. And how you got over them. That is going to help other community members. The lack of details is hurting my head very badly, because these are problems that other community members are going to want to know. So people can't help you if you're not helping the community, because in order for people to help you, people have to share their experiences, and people have to share the details of those experiences. Again, you might have shared them in the other videos that you had talked about. I don't know. I'm just going by this particular video. Always give the details. They don't have to be uber technical. Like, example, Caden Live crashed when I rendered at this because of this. And that's it. It's an example. That is the kind of details you are lacking. So nobody can help you in the community except for yourself. Again, it's asking for help, but at the same time not wanting the help from anybody when you're asking for help. It's okay. You want help, awesome, but it's like telling somebody to go fuck themselves after you ask them for help. And it's like, what? Okay. So the person just kind of ignores it. So, short version. Give more details, please.
How it works. So, I can stream with it and I can record with it. So, that's going to be good for, if I do any Twitch or whatever. But mostly I got it because I'm going to be doing Chatterbait because that's fun. And I enjoy doing it. And if you want to come join me, you can. I don't know if there's going to be a link in the description. Just search Ugu Games and follow me on there. And yeah, that'll be cool. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube, again, on Ugu Games. Just UGUUGAMES. So give me a search and watch my shit, because that's what this is all about, right?
Okay, so I'm not bragging or ranting or yelling or screaming or really swearing as much as people would normally expect me to on this kind of video. This comes across to me as a frustrated user. Totally get that. The last person you want to take advice from, in my personal opinion, would be Fox. That's like asking a car mechanic how to repair a boat. You just don't. Might be similar, doesn't mean it's the same. End of the day, like that is my take. So, few things. Give more details. Like I'm legit curious to know what problems you actually ran into. Some of them might be contributed to user error. Some of them, because user error involves user choice too, believe it or not. And some of them might be hardware choice, could be X, Y, or Z. Could be a variety of reasons. But I want to get this one thing straight that a lot of people seem to misunderstand. People always place the blame on the OS. And this applies to Mac and Windows too. People always lambast the OS first. That's like curing a symptom, but not the cause. Oh, my machine, blue screen to death. So you just throw the machine away. That's kind of the mentality. Maybe it's a failing piece of hardware. And that's what I get from a lot of these videos. So always check to see what it is that might be the issue. And I mean thoroughly. Ask questions. Be inquisitive. Kind of be annoying when it comes to the questioning. At the end of the day, assign the blame where the blame needs to go. If it's on the OS, fine. But blaming a symptom for the disease is not going to cure the disease. You might block a symptom, but end of the day, disease is still kind of there. Now, what you consider the disease, I'll leave that one up to you. I'm just simply saying, point the finger in the right direction and at the right thing. So, details and look at the right problem. And don't trust Xbox for advice. That's just a bad. Because, again, I'll state, in that particular video, Xbox, a lot of his issues was user error. Now, as far as your particular use case, Here are some recommendations for video editing. Flowblade, Shotcut, OpenShot, more like OpenCrash, but it might work for you. Kdenlive, Lightworks. Now Lightworks is proprietary and paid for. They do have a free version, but it doesn't. It's only got a 720p output. Or it's limited. So you might want to look at some of those. Just some recommendations. There are a bunch of others that might work for you, but keep an open mind. Be willing to adapt your workflow. You're on a new platform. It's gonna be different. You can't go to Mac expecting all your games to work. So why are you gonna go to Windows then? And kind of the same analogy, expecting iMovie or Final Cut. It just ain't gonna be there. Different platform, potentially different tools. Because even if the tool is available on another platform, doesn't mean it's equal. And at the end of the day, that's really the case. So anyway, you guys know what to do. That is my rant. That is my rave. And I am out. Rate it, subscribe. Peace.